Now, campaigners have accused Facebook of breaking equality law in the way it handles job adverts. The group Global Witness says Facebook is failing to prevent discriminatory targeting and its algorithm is biased in choosing who sees which ads. For example, ads for mechanics are almost exclusively shown to men, and nearly all of those seeing ads for nursery jobs were women. Kevin Curran is a professor of cybersecurity at Ulster University. Kevin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dean.
I'm going to give you a task today. If you can explain to us, for those who don't know, in simple terms, what an algorithm is, first of all, and how it works.
An algorithm, in this case, is their artificial intelligence algorithms, machine learning, and it really looks at patterns in data and it tries to make predictions from that data.
So what do you think exactly is going on here? Does Facebook need to be doing more? And if so, what is the solution?
Facebook does need to do more because we're discriminating against gender in this case here. That the ads we're showing, in other words, the created ads, this Global Witness is a campaign group. And they created ads, again, one for mechanic, one for a psychologist, one for pilot, and one for a nursery nurse. And of the mechanics, 96% of the people who were showing the ads were men. And for the nursery nurses, 95% were female. And then for the airline pilots and psychologists, it was more or less 75% of men were showing the airline pilot job and 73% of psychologists' ads went to women. So what we're seeing here is that when you place an ad, even if you don't, actually put in gender discrimination into the algorithm again, that your ad is not probably being shown to any of the genders that you might have wanted it to be shown to.
Facebook has said in a statement, our system takes into account different kinds of information to try and serve people ads that they will be most interested in. By looking at their statement, Kevin, they're basically saying, well, it's doing exactly what we want it to do.
In some ways, I mean, Facebook make their money from ads. Again, and in some ways they don't want to be showing a nursery job to adults who maybe are in the age of 50 to 60 and have a certain level of income who live in Belfast. In other words, they're not going to apply for it. And it's not as if we haven't tried to tailor our ads in the past. You know, when people were putting traditionally, 20, 30, 40 years ago for nursery ads, they might have put them into women's magazines. And of course, a man could have went to a shop and bought a woman's magazine if he really wanted to be a nursery nurse. But of course, with online, you can't do that. So we have to have some kind of transparency, some sort of overview, basically to stop any discrimination, which does lead to oppression.
So essentially what you're saying, Kevin, is that behind this technology, behind this algorithm are human beings. So change can be made, essentially.
Oh, absolutely. Some of the bias could be introduced by humans, but mostly is introduced by having data sets which are not accurate in the real world. So, of course, what you want is to have some way of being able to measure fairness, that one group is not being discriminated against no matter what your algorithm is. And there are some frameworks out there. Now, it's not a trivial thing to fix, but Facebook are aware of this for some time and something has to be done because we can't allow any discrimination.
I imagine there are other problems on other sites as well, not just Facebook, similar problems. Are you hearing that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've known about bias, in the past where, for instance, we've had facial recognition systems again, which were 99% accurate for men and only 35% accurate for women. And what that came down to was most of the data set that was the algorithm was trained on were men. And that's where the bias comes in again. So the more data you have, the more fair it is, the more accurate it will be, reflecting what happens in real life.
And this really is, as you say, reflective of a wider society problem. And it's probably good that we're talking about it today.
It is, yeah, and I wouldn't hang Facebook over this. In fact, Facebook have some of the best artificial intelligence researchers on the planet, of course, and Google and the rest have. So Facebook are very good. But of course, you'd wonder about this because really, again, that this aims, this can be hurtful to the bottom line again, which is selling ads again, because they just want to be as accurate as they can. But of course, it does discriminate.
Yeah, and money at the heart of it all as well. Kevin, good to talk to you today. That was really interesting. Thank you very much for your time. Kevin Curran, Professor of Cybersecurity at Ulster University, bringing the time now to 25 minutes past 1.